What's so interesting is my dad, after all the horrible stuff that was said about us in the press by his wife, he died on Father's Day, June 15th, on Father's Day. And I thought that was a sign. And get this, about a month later, I'm looking up June 15th on the computer, and I stopped dead in my tracks. I must have turned cold because I just kept staring at the screen. June 15th was the day the United Nations created for World Elder Abuse Awareness Day 10 years ago.
Wow.
My dad died on World Elder Abuse Awareness Day and Father's Day of that year. So if that's not a sign to keep going, and so I at that point I was on a syndicated radio show as a very public person, and people said this is happening to me. I don't have the money. I don't have a famous last name. I can't, I don't know what to do. So I created the Kasem Cares Foundation. And I actually created it before my dad died because I said, if the judge isn't going to let me see my dad, I'm going to change the law. So I ended up changing the law in California and 12 other states. 9 other states have adopted similar laws to the Kasem Cares Visitation Bill. So and that's a very, very, very like condensed version of what I went through and what I've been doing with my life. But elder abuse is rampant in the
Now,
United.
for if somebody is listening to this right now and they feel that either through a relative or a caretaker or someone, if they feel that they're dealing with a similar situation, how can they get a hold of Kasem Cares,
Go to
or where can they go for help?
Yes, and people have hundreds of people have, and we have really helped so many. Go to kasemcares.org. That's KAS like Sam, EM like Mary, kasemcares.org. We're the only organization that deals with this type of elder abuse isolation that has a hotline. So you can call us, you can email us, read the stories of people we've helped. It's all up there. We also have our bill up there. We have the Residents' Bill of Rights. We have everything that can help you and the tools that can help you. But if you start to see red flags, and red flags are, isolation. First, it starts with the friends, and whether it's, oh, your friends are no good, they don't care about you. Oh, your kids are taking money from you. Oh, your kids are this and this. You'll start to see the isolation that way. You'll also start to, when you call up for mom or dad, they can't come to the phone. They're too tired. They're not getting your messages. You're calling them and nobody's answering. Those are red flags. So you need to get to your mom or dad immediately, and put them on video. Have them hold a newspaper so they see the date. And they need to say, if anybody in my care keeps me from my family and friends, they should be removed immediately. You need to have that on video. And do it with your iPhone, do it with, anything, but just get that on tape. And then you need to also say, if anybody vilifies my children, if they say they've been taking money from me, if they say I don't want to see them, it's an absolute lie. Name the kids you want to see, name the people you want to see, and say, I do not want to be isolated. And really get that on there. If you can then give that video to as many people as possible, that's great. You should also name the people in the room. If maybe you have, you could have a lawyer there present, great, but you have to get this on video. Get your will and estate plans in order, and do not leave them to one person. Do not leave your will and estate plans to one person or one trustee. Checks and balances, they're so important. So one person can't just take over and say, oh, well, you know what? They don't, your dad doesn't want to see you kids, and he didn't leave you any money. He didn't do this. It's like when kids have been left some money or their grandkids or whatever, and you go in to get it, you're called greedy. Wait a second. Mom and dad worked their whole lives to leave some money to us kids and to my grandchildren, or if not, to their favorite charities or to wherever they want to leave it. But, it's like, it's really sad when you have one person, a power of attorney or a trustee, who decides that's not where the money's going, or you have a lawyer come in, or a guardian, a public guardian come in and can change all your will and estate plans and basically sell your house, sell your car, sell everything you own because they're taking care of you. And then nothing is left. You don't work your whole life to leave money to guardians and lawyers and people you don't know. You don't work your whole life to make the lawyers richer, but that's what's happening in this country, So you just got to protect yourself, and you have to have the conversations. Mom, dad, what do you want?
And Kerri, you bring up a great point in regards to the laws and to our courts. And as someone who has worked with custody situations, they've changed the laws and such to where you cannot badmouth the other spouse. You can't alienate, the other spouse with the children. They focused on this, but somehow missed the point about our parents or about elders. So I love the fact that you have gone out there, you have formed this association, and you are now making a difference. As you said, you've changed the laws now in 12 different states.
Yes.
It's phenomenal.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm also part of an organization. I'm ambassador for Youth for Human Rights, and I teach human rights, 30 human rights. And I cannot tell you how empowering it is to actually know your human rights, because Eleanor Roosevelt, in fact, it's the 70th year right now of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So when you know that my dad's human rights were violated, my rights were violated. So you can go in there in a court of law. You can go in there when you're testifying in front of the Senate or, the House of Representatives. And these are human rights that are being violated. It's as simple as that. So I teach that, and anybody can get a packet. It's the 30 human rights. It's very, 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 it's done very well. Just a sentence about each human right. And then if you go to youthforhumanrights.org, it's a video. It's about a minute video for every human right. It's beautiful. And we have tons of teachers using this, military, churches. So it's wonderful. I'm very proud of that work that I do because it's very empowering.
Well, thank you so much. Now, if you were to just summarize, it's sort of a checklist where you talked about some of the red flags. If people see some of these red flags, what are the things in order? If there were, 5 or 6 things to do, what would you recommend they do first?
First, the video, get that immediately. If you can get to your parents, get that immediately. Second, make sure that you have everybody in the room. I don't care if you're fighting with them, you don't like them, you get them in the room and you have the conversation of what you want. If it's you telling your mom and dad, say, Mom and Dad, what do you want at the end of life? What are your wishes? Record this meeting. What are your wishes? Who do you want to take care of you? Do you want a do not resuscitate? Do you want to stay in your home? How is that going to happen? How much money do you have so we know what we can afford if something catastrophic happens? Have the talk. Talk about it.
Yeah.
Conversate. It's so important.
Okay. And you mentioned Logan Clark earlier. Unfortunately, he couldn't be with us, but just share a little bit how important he was, because I know that he took your case to heart and made it the most important case in the world. Share a little bit about that.
Well, Logan doesn't just take my case to heart. He takes every case he takes on to heart. And so do you. So he was instrumental in the Kasem family getting to see their dad again. So I thank him with all my heart. All of the Kasems do.
All right. Well, we thank you. And again, I just want to acknowledge you for starting the movement that is now changing the way in which all of us will be able to make sure that our parents are better taken care of. So with that, thank you. And thank you for your time for joining us.
Thank you, Alan. You are very welcome.
All right. Bye.